O Chelas of the great white Brotherhood, I greet you in the name of the great divine Director and in the flame of the cave of light. I have journeyed from India to the west this night, and I shall remain for this conference to be with you in the celebration of New Year's Eve. I come bearing the light of the East and of our Council of India. I come to address you, O Chelas of the Flame, on matters of world import, and I am grateful that you have begun to enter into my flame and my understanding of these conditions. I bring to you the deliberations of the Darjeeling Council and our Council. For in the many deliberations that have gone forth out of the chambers of the Karmic Board, even the Cosmic Council, and in the Royal Teton concerning this decade, there have been numerous discussions on the subject of our Chelas positioned in the United States and India and in other nations of the earth. There is a body of devotees following in the tradition of the ascended masters and the unascended masters of the East, upon whom we can count to be the open window of light and the intensity of the accelerated light that we must deliver in this decade. Therefore I come as my heart has sent forth streams of light tied securely to the hearts of those who are the true Chelas of the flame. I speak to all devotees of the great law by my heart of light, by the sound light stream of the cave of light, out of the causal body of the great divine Director. All who are a part of this Antakarana of the great white Brotherhood upon earth, therefore receive the momentum of our meditation in the mind of God through the spoken word and through this penetration of light by my heart, by the heart of the messenger, and then through yourselves as sending stations of our thought matrix. Beloved ones, we send forth the thought form of the converging of the flames of East and West, now that the true spiritual path of the West has been set forth by Sanat Kumara, the Ancient of Days, by Saint Germain and Lemuria, now that there is the outer branch of the great white Brotherhood in this nation, and a teaching that can be taught by you under the world teachers, we call for the converging of the paths of East and West, the true path of discipleship and the inner disciplines of the 5 secret rays taught in India by the true gurus in an unbroken lineage descending from the ancient temples of Lemuria is that which we desire to see interchanged with the path of the West. Therefore I bring to you the gift of the Eastern discipline. It is a way of mind and a way of heart. It is a fastidiousness to the discipline of the inner energies of the soul. It is a way of life that is one-pointed. Beloved hearts, these virtues, attributes, and disciplines of the Eastern path we desire to see outpictured in our community teaching centers and in our chelas throughout America. We have blessed the path of yoga that has been transferred by the mother to certain chelas of the staff as an appropriate sequence of the exercise of the physical body for the interaction with the spiritual bodies and the chakras. This sequence of exercises must be in the hand and the heart of keepers of the flame and those who serve here and in the teaching centers. Beloved ones, it is not a physical exercise for the exercise of the physical body. It is divine movement for the release of light that is even locked in your physical cells and atoms, in your very physical heart. Releasing that light transmutes toxins, fatigue, and opposition to your victory. And therefore, not endless hours, but a period of meditation and concentration combined with these asanas daily will reap much good and give you a surcease from the stress of bearing the burden not only of world karma, but of that certain type of chaotic energy which is uniquely Western in its vibration, emanating from the mass consciousness of uncontrolled feeling bodies and the wanton and reckless misuse of the mental body. Beloved ones, this path is something that you can take up and yet not be deterred from your regular activity of service. We desire to see one-pointedness and discipline rise from the base of the physical pyramid and ascend to the crown. Many of you have pursued the discipline from spiritual levels, drawing forth the light of the mighty I Am Presence down into the heart and into the lower vehicles. And this is as it should be, as the path of the Father is the descending light, and the path of the Mother is the ascending light. Thus, we build from that foundation, and we draw you in to the inner chamber of the heart and the science of the sacred breath, which has already been taught to you by Dwal Kul, by Lanello, and by others of the ascended masters. Blessed hearts, we would transfer a certain momentum of constancy and love that comes out of thousands of years of devotion of the Eastern disciples unto their appointed goal. We would transfer to you a certain confidence that in pursuing the path of chelaship, you are solving world problems. Sometimes the agitation in the West makes you hear of such conditions and then go here and there in an agitated manner to seek solutions by outer action instead of inner attunement with our brotherhood. We seek balance, and it is the balancing light that is needed in America as well as in India. For you see, our ashrams on this subcontinent are also lacking in the practical application of the law. And there is the absence of the violet flame that has created a vacuum, waiting to be filled. Blessed hearts, our devotees have become so much a part of the inner light that they have even developed an attachment to that flame and to that meditation, and therefore they seldom enter into the arena of action, and their balance that is needed is your joy, fervor, enthusiasm, and the practical ability to get things done, to apply the spiritual truth to a physical problem, and to see the law that applies. This is the great gift of the mother flame itself, that is the real spark of life in America. Thus, the traditions ancient of Lemuria need the infusion of the New Age and of the teachings of the ascended Master Saint Germain. We welcome Saint Germain to India and to our home of light. We open the doors of our ashrams, and we are in search of chelas in our own nation who will listen to the teachings of the ascended Master Saint Germain and not remain smug in their spiritual pride, thinking that because India has been first in spiritual traditions, that it is through India that this teaching of the New Age must come. Beloved ones, we send the Mother from the West that they also might be humble and realize that one, though not schooled outwardly in all of the traditions of their doctrine, may yet be chosen to bear a flame that India desperately needs in this her hour. It is her hour of decision to move forward into the golden age, while politics and politicians are bent on taking the course of her destiny this way and that, aligned with the Soviet Union or Red China or the United States, or non-aligned. Beloved hearts, India has a tradition of dependence upon the spiritual light of the great spiritual teachers and their disciples. But beloved ones, the hour has come when the responsibility must be upon all of the people, and that responsibility can be met, must be met, can only be met through moving forward in the action of the violet flame. Thus, as the message of freedom in the Christ has come through this nation, it too must be taken to a new world that is an old world of the tradition of Sanat Kumara himself. The meeting of East and West is the real sign of the figure-eight flow. We have spoken to you of the 1980s being a decade of integration of the soul with the I Am presence. This is the mighty figure-eight flow from the lower figure in the chart to the upper figure with the Christ self at the nexus. This is the north-south axis, the vertical bar of the cosmic cross, and that integration is for acceleration of light, for the balancing of personal karma. Now we look to the horizontal figure-eight flow on the east-west bar. We look to interaction between the United States and India, and we look to that interaction to begin on the spiritual plane, and thereby carry a light and a momentum of the great white brotherhood. As you are considering in this hour of crisis the geopolitical center of the Middle East, do not neglect to realize that the Middle East is only a nexus, and that the polarity of India and America is the true figure-eight flow of the globe, as the light of Himalaya and of the god and goddess Meru carries that energy in the mighty figure-eight. So we desire now that Chelas of the light shall establish and maintain an ashram to the world mother and to the Ancient of Days in the land of India, and that it shall come swiftly. For we desire to see the strategy of light evolved by Gautama Buddha move into action so as not to lose a day or an hour in the fulfillment of his 10-year plan. Beloved ones, Serapis Bey has come to you with his portion of the divine plan, evolved even out of the heart of Almighty God and delivered to Sanat Kumara. It is the transfer and the placing of a force field of the flame of Luxor, the white light of the ascension flame, in this seat of the soul chakra of America. This dictation, which you heard last evening, was a most important pivot point in the divine plan of the Lord of the world that he has received from on high. It is the understanding of the law of polarity, which is the foundation of the entire eighth ray initiation. Therefore, placing the focal point of the mother and her chelas in the west as one extreme of the figure eight, we desire to see the nucleus of light in India established so that there can be a perpetual flow over this figure eight, and over that flow the transmutation of planetary karma, because it is your dharma. Beloved ones, you who would accelerate on the path of the ruby ray, it is time that you understood that inasmuch as it is a requirement of the law for you to balance planetary karma, the ascended masters do indeed have a divine plan whereby you might expedite your dharma and therefore get on with your service under the world teachers. And that divine plan is based upon the mighty figure eight spiral. Considering then that this force field is now one end of the figure eight, you can, with your mind's eye, place your finger at that extreme point of the figure eight, and now you can imagine that figure eight rotating over the entire surface of the earth, so that wherever there is an ashram of light, a community teaching center, there becomes the extreme, the other point of the figure eight. And there is the flow of light from the heart of the community of Camelot, from the heart of the messenger embodied, to all those devotees who keep the flame at that point, whether 50 miles away, or 2,000 miles away, or 20,000 miles away. Beloved hearts, understand that that figure eight flow then creates a balancing action whereby all that is here is recreated at the other extreme, and all that must be transmuted in either direction is also carried, and therefore by the figure eight flow there is the channeling of that energy through the nexus. My beloved, it is my great honor to tell you that the Lord Sanat Kumara has determined to place himself at that mighty nexus of the figure eight wherever it occurs, and at that point to receive the light and the heart calls of chelas in Camelot and in the outlying posts where the children of the light are not only the watchmen on the wall, but truly those who keep the goalpost of life in their community. Thus, through the mighty heart of the Ancient of Days, the light that translates between you shall accelerate, and the darkness shall be transmuted, and you will fulfill both aspects of the law, that of accelerating light in the earth by his mighty heart, and that of bearing the cross of planetary karma. Therefore, because of this possibility which the dispensation of the decade brings, we call then to keepers of the flame in this company to deliberate on the morrow concerning the establishment of that ashram long awaited by me and by all who are associated with me in the Indian Council in the nation of India. Beloved hearts, we desire to send representatives, chelas who are truly chelas by example, by life, by light, who may come to India and take up their abode in a place that we have prepared, and thereby begin the 24-hour spiral of violet flame invocations that shall go forth in that land. My precious hearts, I tell you, there are avatars of light positioned in the Himalayas who have arced their mighty flow of light to the heart of this messenger ever since the very beginning of this mission. Beloved ones, they are attuned by that very flame. There are devotees throughout India who will feel the vibration of the violet flame, who are so sensitive that they will literally make a trek to that ashram to come and bask in the light of freedom. That violet flame going forth shall be to that nation truly a new birth, such as the great birth that Saint Germain has given to the United States of America. And therefore the dispensation from the Cosmic Council is for Saint Germain, his messenger and his chelas, to transfer the entire momentum of this activity within that ashram in India by this mighty figure-8 flow, so that the glow of holy amethyst and Lord Zadkiel on this western shore of America will be reflected in that force field, and many devotees of light will come into the new age, and their crowning glory on their path of initiation that they have walked diligently will be the transmutation of their personal karma by the light of the violet flame. My beloved ones, up until the moment of this dispensation, it has been necessary for many of our devotees to take incarnation in the United States and to come into the awareness of the violet flame. And I am here to tell you that in this century, many have come and embodied. Many have found the violet flame through the I Am activity, and by the grace of Godfrey and Lotus, they have taken their ascension in the light, and they stand amongst you this night to give testimony that without the violet flame, they would yet be an incarnation pursuing the long path to soul liberation as is presently outlined in India. They rejoice in their own opportunity by the flame of the Mother Portia to come into that ascended Master God consciousness, and they have kept the vigil for all of their brothers and sisters in India whose karma has dictated that they remain in that land. And therefore they have kept the vigil for them to receive the violet flame. And they, as ascended masters, have made their appeals to the Cosmic Council that this momentum of this activity of light might truly be transferred. It has been the longing in the heart of the messenger to do just this, but she has not attempted to do so until the call from Darjeeling and from our Indian Council would bid her and give her the authority of the Great White Brotherhood. And therefore, it is with tremendous joy that we may now allow the Mother to release the joy flame of her heart and her heart's longing to go to India to establish that shrine unto the World Mother. Her heart's longing to be there in the ancient land of her own birth has been so great that she has often remarked to us that if she ever came to India, she might never return to the United States. I can assure you this will not be so, for I will see to it, and I give you my pledge. I must place the trust of that ashram in those devotees who have learned the practical way of application of the law in America. There are individuals among you of whom I have spoken to the messenger over a period of 24 months. I have named these individuals to her, and I have told her that in order for them to make their ascension, they must go to India to carry the flame. She has kept these names in her heart and never contacted those souls. But I will tell you a little secret. When she stood last evening with Serapis, in joy beaming at all of the devotees filing through, she saw one of those individual hearts pass through, and her heart leaped and asked, when will it come to pass that we will have our ashram in India so that that blessed soul might go to and fulfill her dharma of bringing the violet flame to her brothers and sisters there. No one in the octaves of light even whispered a reply to that question of a messenger, saving the joyous moment for our coming this evening. Beloved hearts, with the establishment of that force field, the flow of light between all of the hearts of India and all of the hearts of America will be reestablished. Both are the children of Lemuria, who have made a mighty circle of light around Lemuria, who have kept the flame of the mother of Alpha and Omega, have been separated by the mighty ocean for these many centuries since the sinking of that continent. Now the rejoining of these souls will produce an ascended master miracle of light, I can assure you. I can also assure you that those of you who are eager to leave behind the knotted problems of your karma on this continent will not be allowed to do so. And those of you who volunteer to go to India will have to come forward and be counted and subject yourselves to the disciplines of this retreat and pass under the rod of Moses and of Christ, so that you have something to carry to the east. Beloved hearts, the missionary field is not an escape for wayward chelas who have sidestepped the confrontation of their own human creation by removing themselves from the aura and the shadow of the messenger. Thus, the door is open for the training to go to India. And I am determined that before the sands in the hourglass of 1980 have passed through, that there shall be established there a flame and devotees of light. And I can assure you that I am the governing authority and the flame of India, and therefore you have received an invitation from the highest echelons of the God government of our nation. We are gratified and wish to so express our gratitude that you have accomplished the establishment of the Ascended Masters Community Teaching Center in Vancouver, Canada. I am grateful to announce to the entire student body and to the world that that figure-8 flow from the heart of the mother is now in full force, and that focal point of light, signaled by Lord Confucius a number of years ago, has been established on time for that which promises to be a battle of Armageddon in the coming elections, as the fallen ones in Canada realize that the light is oncoming, and as they scramble to regain their positions of power, province by province. Beloved hearts, there are many devotees of light in Canada, and there are those who have seen the messenger and who continue to speak lies and spread their gossip concerning the Ascended Master's teachings. Almost from the very moment that she set foot in Alberta, they have sought to align her with that organization known as Scientology. I am here to send forth the word and to seal it in the physical octaves that never has there ever been an association of this organization with Scientology, with its leaders or its members. There has not been any interaction or cooperation, and the teachings are not of the same origin. And therefore I call to the fiery salamanders and the mighty seraphim to consume the liar and the lie, and to bind all attempts to deal the same denunciation upon her that she does cast out devils by Beelzebub. beloved ones, when individuals exert the power of the great white brotherhood and of the Holy Spirit, it is feared, and therefore the fallen ones will always accuse them of being of the devil, for they feared the devil more than they fear Almighty God, because they are his subjects. Children of the light, we are determined to see a mighty cosmic cube of crystal quartz over America, Canada, and the United States, and therefore a mighty figure-eight flow is established in action between these two nations for the transmutation by the mighty heart of the Ancient of Days of age-old animosities spurred on by black magicians who have been encamped within the geographical area of Canada long, long before the current age. These foundations of antagonism and separation between these people of light who are one people at inner levels must now, in this hour, be transmuted and challenged. I desire then that whoever is able of the keepers of the flame in America to make a pilgrimage to that nation and to that teaching center shall do so, and that all of you shall hold in your heart that crystal chalice of light and keep in your prayers the necessary energy and dynamic decrees for the force field in Vancouver. We are gratified that Canadians and Americans together have determined to come into that force field, and that some have given their supply, and that thereby this teaching center is owned, established by Church Universal and Triumphant, and is not a leased property. It is therefore truly an outpost and a force field of light to carry the momentum of the ascended masters to that nation, and Saint Germain expresses his gratitude that the line of Mission Amethyst Jewel on the western coast has been extended not only to Canada but to Mexico, where two devotees of light, long-time staff members at Camelot and Chilas of the Mother, have established their force field in Mexico City. And thus the extension of that line of violet flame now goes forth from Mexico City to Vancouver, and there is an explosion of light and a figure-eight flow as these two distant points become the outer edges of another figure-eight interchange, whereby the blessed people of Central America, who are also one with all Americans, may now add their mighty flame of devotion to the Virgin Mary, to the Mother Light, to the saints, to the momentum of attainment of those evolutions of Canada and the United States, who do indeed form a threefold flame of wisdom, power, and love in their attainment. This action is the fulfillment of that which was begun at Christmas 1973, in that pilgrimage to South America, in that New Year's conference held in Mexico City. Every spiral planted by the messengers and the Chilas must grow, and so it grows, and so it expands from the etheric octave downward, from the physical octave upward, until it centers in the conscious minds of the people and in their feeling bodies, and they begin to express the teachings in the science of the spoken word and in their lives lived according to the path of the Christ and the Buddha. We therefore commend you, beloved hearts, in all that you have accomplished and in the many sacrifices made. We give divine direction to you individually, and we give you the necessary information that the acceleration of karma in the dark cycle has necessitated an increase in the giving of decrees for the holding of the flame of Camelot by the staff, by the students of Summit University and Montessori International. It has become necessary for those who are in the teaching centers to increase the sending forth of the light. By the grace of God, within their devoted hearts, the light has been held, and the foundation of the word going forth has not been interfered with by any force whatsoever. We plant our light in Camelot in this hour to see that it remains so, that all that is designed to be accomplished within this force field is accomplished, and that no one, no force whatsoever can interfere with the divine plan of Gautama Buddha. The goddess of liberties, revelation of the divine plan for mission, amethyst jewel to the nations, bearing the light of freedom, of the culture of freedom, of the law, and finally of education. We'll be outpictured in the coming quarters of Summit University as we train teachers to go forth, spiritual teachers and teachers bearing the Montessori method. We desire to see graduates of this course set up Montessori schools in India, where they have long been welcomed and where many have sent their children to release that creative fire of the heart. This ongoing program will be the open door of service and the mark of our ashrams worldwide. Therefore, we commend you to that holy calling. We commend you to it for many reasons. Many of you require an expansion of illumination's flame. There has been darkness upon the earth for so long concerning spiritual matters and true principles of education that those of you seeking to be world servers require the balance of your threefold flame. Many of you have tremendous love and power because you have exercised the power of the word. It remains for you to accelerate the yellow plume of Christ consciousness, placing yourself then within the disciplinary framework of Summit University and on the subject of cosmic education and the development of the little child will confer upon you the expansion of the grace of wisdom as you apply yourself. This then will be the sacred labor in your hand as you go forth to India and to other nations. I have therefore given to you the message of our solution at spiritual levels to the conditions upon earth, and that solution is the opening of our teaching center in India and our expansion of other centers already established and those to be opened and to be named to you by Saint Germain as he so chooses. This priority that is placed by all councils of the Great White Brotherhood upon the spiritual centers cannot be overemphasized. This priority of disciplined chelas who will pick up the virtues of the Eastern path and become more dedicated, more selfless in their service in the teaching centers and study groups, and who will detach themselves from so many unnecessary cares of life in order to give more of their light. This priority, beloved hearts, as I have said, cannot be overemphasized. It is a priority because of our vision and our ability at co-measurement, whereby we co-measure the quality of the soul and his attainment against the light of the I Am Presence, whereby we co-measure the balance of light and darkness and the cycles of karma in the earth. The line and the measuring rod of that co-measurement that I hold concerns the dark cycle and the rising tide of that cycle, which you have been told is cumulative, and therefore the cumulative cycles rise. And you will see that in the decade of the 80s, the mounting energies which affect the astrological configurations will bring you then next year to the dark cycle in Sagittarius, when there will be the lashback of the entire momentum of the dark cycle ongoing for 12 years. It is therefore that we call for an acceleration of light within our outposts, for God harmony in the figure-8 flow of all outposts with the messenger. To this end, we summon you to establish and to accelerate that mighty light, for we desire such a concentration of cosmic consciousness that lash back in the coming year, beginning April 23rd, 1980, will not be so great as to affect elemental life in cataclysmic conditions which, if unleashed, could produce a chain reaction planetary in scope. We are therefore calling upon chelas and devotees to recognize that in the coming months we see that the greatest of all services that you can render is to come together wherever you are, in 2s and 3s, in nuclei of light, forming study groups and teaching centers, and being regular and disciplined in your application of the science of the Word, thereby holding literally the balance of the earth on behalf of humanity. There are enough students of the light in this activity today to accomplish the desired results if these students would take seriously the path and have a realization of self-worth and self-importance. It was I who asked you to applaud with the mother in gratitude for your own sacrifices, for I desired you to be capable of understanding that when praise is due, praise ought to be given, and that you need to value yourself as we value you in your service to the light. It is of no consequence to us that the light is persecuted. We say, what's new? It has ever been as the light swallows up the darkness, and as long as it has ever been, then why not accelerate the swallowing up process and thereby shorten the days of the onslaughts of the fallen ones? Beloved hearts, consider your calling, consider your divine plan, and co-measure that plan against the backdrop of the world divine plan which I place before you. If it does not fit the priorities of the Darjeeling Council, the Indian Council, and the Council of the Royal Teton, you might very well ask yourself if your priorities are indeed the priorities of your ascended master gurus. If you expect to be chelas in a direct relationship with the ascended masters, then I tell you the shortest distance between those 2 points of the chela and the guru is accomplished when the chela identifies with the cosmic consciousness and purpose of his ascended master guru. If Lemuria has placed himself on the line where light meets darkness, will you place yourself in retreat? Beloved hearts, go where the guru is. Be where the guru is. Identify with the guru, and you will accelerate and become one with him in his heart. The ascended masters never cease in their search for chelas, and I can assure you that every chela begotten of God, called and chosen by us, has the most preferential treatment upon earth of all evolutions. For that chela who gives his word to us, we come then with opportunity, with initiation, with enlightenment, and with solicitude for your needs, for your divine plan, and even for the very smallest details necessary for your service to the light. Therefore, my beloved, the members of the Darjeeling Council, the Indian Council, and the Council of the Royal Teton welcome you to service and to the high calling of this fruition of light in this year. We greet you and we sound this keynote early in this conference that you might have opportunity to deliberate in your heart and place in perspective your very own soul vis-a-vis this divine plan. As others of our band will deliver to you their messages, you will hear the unfoldment of their solutions to outer conditions and outer problems. There are many solutions, but the foundation stone of all building is the Guru-Chela relationship within the community of the Holy Spirit. I bid you welcome to the accelerated path of the ascension, which we sponsor with beloved Serapis Bey. It has been my joy to speak to you. I seal you in the star of light. The mighty secret love star, descend now, dazzling, gold and pink light. Mighty secret love star, descend. Let the replica of that light be sealed within the third eye of every soul who is truly a member of the great white brotherhood in the earth. O children of the light, be sealed in the light of the secret love star. I am Chananda, always your brother of light. I will be there to welcome you as you journey in your etheric bodies to our cave of light this night. And I will be there when you arrive in the physical octave to plant the flame in our ashram of light. Let the cosmic cross of white fire then be the sign that the children of the light, east and west, are one forevermore. Om. Amen.